everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are really excited today to be talking with one of our newest citizens of Hope Valley. We are talking with actress Natasha Burnett today, and she is going to be playing Minnie Canfield on the new season of One Calls the Heart. And thank you so much, Natasha, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Rachel. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, so since you're new to our little family, we would like to start by giving you a chance to introduce yourself. Tell us what inspired you to get into acting.
Okay, so this was really something that I had been doing since I would say I was 3. I was always part of a play or a musical event, a dance show, or anything like that. But I think mostly when I was young, my parents liked to entertain on the weekends. And when that was happening, that was not TV time for us. So my sister and I used to play imaginary games. We used to recreate games, like we used to do Baywatch and Gladiators, and we'd do the theme tunes and the opening credits and just make a whole evening of it, create our own shows, have whole episodes that last the whole evening. So quite frankly, if I didn't end up in this industry, I really don't think my antics would have been appreciated in an office. So
And you would have been right at home at the Office musical.
right.
Very good. That's great. Well, so yeah, it said on IMDb that you had started out in the UK. Obviously, your accent, we can tell that much, but then you ended up in Australia and now you're in Canada. How did that all happen?
So I was doing a show called The Magic of Motown in the UK. I played Diana Ross for 6 years. And then I ended up moving with my partner at the time to Australia because he was from Australia. And I couldn't decide at that time whether I was just tired of being in the industry or I just wanted to change direction after playing the same character for 6 years. So when I moved to Australia, I just sort of went off on a tangent and did whatever I felt like doing. And inevitably, I found myself back in the industry and looking at doing film and television. So I had decided to do a short course at NIDA to give me something to do and to get into the industry. And it was from there that I met somebody who was almost like a talent scout and would advise Australians if they want to work across the pond in North America. And he spoke to me about my options, about moving to LA or moving to Canada. And Canada for me ended up being the better option because I was able to get a work visa and just really feel my way around things before deciding that Canada was going to be the place. Whereas America with the O1 visa, I would have had to make sure I saved up money and a lot more than what I did for when I came to Canada. It was a lot more relaxed and I was able to see agents and decide what I wanted to do. Plus, I also knew some people in Toronto. So it was slightly easier to make the decision to move to Canada.
Well, you're kind of like, oh, darn, I have to move to the place with the cold weather.
Yeah. Right.
From Australia. It's freezing up there in Canada. But do you feel like you can do all of the accents? You can do Canadian, Australian, obviously England.
Well, you know what, funnily enough, the whole time I was in Australia, one of the things my agent there had said to me is, you know, it's going to be difficult getting you work because you need to do the Australian accent. And I, for the life of me, could not do the accent. I fly back to the UK. I'd been there for a year, fly back to the UK. I'm in the hairdresser. And she's like, you know, you've got an Australian accent now. And I was just like, what? the whole time I'm trying to get work, I can't get it because I can't do the accent, and I get off a plane and apparently it's just there now. So yeah, so the Australian accent, yes, I could do that now. Canadian, when I was young, being in England, we didn't really differentiate between the Canadian and American accent.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm in Canada, I can definitely differentiate between two accents. I definitely cannot do a Canadian accent, but I can do an American accent.
It's particularly in certain words, like sorry.
Yes, that was an interesting one for me. I was like, oat and a boot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I'm so sorry. Do you have a preference as far as where you've lived? Your favorite place you've ever lived? Since you've been so many.
Oh my gosh. Do you know, that's so hard because there were things about Australia that I really, really liked. The only thing that probably would make it last on my list is it's so far away from any other civilization. It's just nowhere near anything.
Mm-hmm.
Canada or England, do you know, they're so different, but they're so nice, both of them, for very, very different reasons. I love the UK for its history and its culture. You can go to the museums, and so much history is in the UK, whereas Canada, I find Vancouver to be a really peaceful place. There's not the same hustle and bustle, and there are times where I really appreciate that peace and quiet that I get from being in Vancouver.
Yeah, I can imagine. That would be nice. Everybody very chill. Very cool.
Yes.
Very cool. Well, since you started out singing, do you have any preference of what you prefer doing, singing or acting?
Oh my gosh. Again, do you know, that's a hard one as well, because I'll be doing singing and then I'll feel like I want to do more acting. Then I'll just be doing acting and feel like I want to start singing again. So they're both what it is with singing, and it's because I was doing live theatre. I loved the adrenaline rush that you get from the audience that doesn't happen when you're on a film set.
Yeah.
And so I definitely sometimes miss that. And I think it was last year, I did a couple of shows on stage, and it was so nice to feel the energy from the audience. It was a really nice feeling. But do you know, I really don't know that I have a preference. I'll always sing. If I'm doing straight acting, I'll sing in between takes. They'll be there somewhere.
Oh. Yeah, I know what you mean. I love going to live theater so much. I miss it so much. And as soon as I get my vaccination, I'm going to go to some live thing. I don't know what it is. That's my goal.
Something. Anything.
I don't even care. But that's cool. Do you remember the very first role that you ever got, or were you too young? On television or in a movie?
Oh my gosh, on television. Okay, I wasn't too young. I definitely remember this. I was 19, 19, because everything before that was definitely theatre. And I joined an extras agency, and I had tried to join one that offered featured roles as well. And my first role, there was a police drama we had in the UK called The Bill, and I was sort of playing the murderer had a group of girls that he was with, that he'd go into the club with, and and I ended up being featured on that as one of the women that he took into the club with him, and yeah, that was my first experience on television as a role to do.
Do you remember? Do you remember when you got it? Did you like freak out? Were you so excited when you got your first role?
I thought that it was it's so funny because as an actor, you sometimes think in the beginning, when you really know nothing, you think that this role is it. You're like, yeah, I'm going to get somewhere now. Everybody else, watch out. I'm on my way. And then, you do the role and then you watch it back and you're just like, sorry, can I just rewind that? I just need to check where I was. It was literally 2 seconds on screen.
Yeah. Hey, you take what you can get, right?
Exactly. I'll take the 2 seconds. I'll just keep playing it in slow motion now that the DVRs can do that. You just pause it.
Yeah. So you started pretty early doing some small roles for Hallmark. Your first, at least according to IMDb, you were in things like The Bridge, Part 1 and 2.
Yes.
So you've been over there in Canada for quite a while.
Yes. So I've been here for a total of 8 years, sort of on and off, I would say. I would go back to the UK sometimes for auditions for the West End or something like that. So those I was never going to turn down. They're like, okay, I'll come back for that. But yeah, I've sort of been back and forth on both sides.
Yeah. So what was that like when you first got started doing the Hallmark roles? I know it was small at first, but
yeah. No, I didn't know much about Hallmark originally because it's not very big in the UK. Those movies aren't big. So I realized very quickly that it has its own tone and its own energy, and they're just very nice, feel good movies.
Yeah.
And they're just, there's not too much thinking going on. You don't have to think too hard because goodness me, there are certain times where I just cannot deal with working out who knew who and who was supposed to be where, what time. You just want to watch something and get to the end and go, that's really nice. I feel good. I can carry on with my day.
Well, and it must have been a pretty good one to start with Bridge, with such a cast that they had with people like Faith Ford and Andrew Brooks and people like that.
Oh yes! Oh my goodness!
Started.
I remember going for that audition and sort of going into the room, and I was just thinking, well, before that I had done slightly smaller roles, and I just thought, well, we'll see. I'm not really too sure how this one's going to turn out. And then when my agent let me know that I booked it, there was a part 2 as well, but at the time that I auditioned, it didn't say that they were doing a second part.
Oh,
so
really?
Of course, when I got the message, he was like, you're also, they'll also need you for part 2. I was like, oh, really? Yeah, it was
You're like, nobody's ever been so excited for The Bridge, Part 1 and 2.
Exactly. No one but me, just me.
Yeah, that's great. Very good. So when they started thinking about this new part for When Calls the Heart, did you have to audition, or did they come to you, or how did that work?
I did have to audition. I was in the UK at the time when I got the tape to audition. And actually, totally randomly, probably 24 hours before my agent sent it to me, I emailed him and I said, well, with this pandemic, with me being in the UK, it's really going to cause a few problems with me getting self-tapes because there's the quarantine time and no one's going to really want to do that. And he said, well, we'll keep going. It might affect some things. And I really just felt, oh, no, it's just not going to happen. And then I get this audition through and I was like, okay, When Calls the Heart? I know this show. I know of this show. A family? What's going on here? Like, I wasn't 100% on where they wanted to go with this character or the whole family.
Yeah. So you were in the UK.
I was.
You were quarantining there.
Well, I had been there for a couple months. Yeah, I'd already been there. So I had already done, I actually went back because a family member of mine wasn't well. So I sort of went back and, you know, like everybody, they thought it would pass much sooner than it did, or since it still hasn't. And so I thought, okay, when the whole thing passes, I'll go back to Canada. So yeah, when the audition came through, I was in the UK, and I sent the audition in, and I always say to my agent, I said, look, if they is any inkling that they might consider me, can you please just let me know so I have some sort of heads up as to what might happen, so I can prepare, because I know there's going to be a quarantine period when I get back to Canada. He said, yep, I'll let you know. So he told me I was shortlisted probably about a week later, and I was like, okay, I'm shortlisted, so I'll just wait and see what happens, and I'll just be prepared. But I see the date that filming is set to start for my character, and I'm thinking they almost need to tell me in the next 36 hours, because it's getting up to the date where I need to be in Canada to start my quarantine. So
yeah, and I didn't even know they were allowing international travel at that time.
At that time, they had lifted part of the lockdown, and because I am a resident, in fact, they had lifted part of the lockdown, so we weren't still in full lockdown when I did come back. And so I was able to come back in quarantine for the right amount of time, and do everything as I was meant to before they started filming. But I literally had sort of 36 hours to get on a plane.
Wow.
From hearing that I got the role. And yeah, I literally just threw whatever I could into a suitcase and jumped on a plane.
Were you scared getting on a plane with the pandemic and everything?
Terrified. Yeah. Absolutely terrified. But luckily, there weren't really many people on the plane, which made me feel a bit better. I had, quite a few rows around me were completely empty. Yeah. So I was by myself in my little section there. So that made me feel a bit better. But I was really scared, and really I was just like, oh, but I want the job, but I need to get on a plane.
Yeah. It's probably all the more healthy, because I think all of us will have to get to a point where we rip that Band-Aid off, whether it's after a vaccination or whatever it is. I think we'll all have to kind of take that leap.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. From Amazon best-selling author Esther Hatch comes a fresh and fun Victorian-era rom-com, Manor for Sale, Baron Included. Lord Farnsworth would rather rot in debtor's prison than sell the one place that feels like home to him, his mother's manor. That is, until he meets the charming woman who wants to buy it. Suddenly his plans become clear. Sell her the home and then woo her to the altar. What could possibly go wrong? If you enjoy your historical romance sweet and clean with a large dose of humor, Hatch weaves the perfect story for you. See why readers are saying, quote, from the first page, this book had me grinning from ear to ear. Esther's beautiful writing style and lovable characters make you fall in love instantly and invest yourself in the story until the very end. Manor for Sale, Baron Included is available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle, also available in Kindle Unlimited. So check out the new novel, Manor for Sale, Baron Included. And we had an episode of our podcast with Esther where we dove more into the book. So you should definitely check that out as well. It's a really fun, dishy read.
Yep, in order for things to get back to normal.
Yeah. I mean, I was really lucky that it came as the first lockdown had started to lift and the second lockdown hadn't started yet.
Right.
So they were trying to allow, travel and things like that. So I was lucky because, sort of it could have been a month before or a month later, that wouldn't have been possible. So it was at exactly the right time. So I was really lucky.
Wow, that's crazy. So you had heard of the show. You knew about When It Calls the Heart.
I knew about When Calls the Heart. I definitely wouldn't have known about the love triangle. I didn't know about all of that kind of stuff. I did know that it was a period drama that they filmed here. And it's very popular. I knew it was the most popular show that Hallmark has. So that's about as far as I knew. So I thought, well, this could be good.
Yeah. Well, what was that like starting in on an established show with such an established cast? Was that challenging?
Actually, it was really comforting because both the cast and the crew are, in a very good, well-oiled machine. So everybody feels very comfortable anyway. And that made me feel comfortable coming on as a newcomer, because there was a very nice energy with everybody, and everybody was so welcoming. I'd definitely say it's the first set I've been on where everybody is just really helping each other out, and they just know, everybody knows where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to be doing, because they've been working with each other for so long. And that was really nice to see, because any nerves that I had definitely subsided a lot quicker when I was able to see everybody else work and just feel like, okay, I don't need to worry about too much. I can just go in and do what I need to do. And everybody was so chatty, and it was just really nice.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's what I've heard from everybody who started new on the show. It's felt very welcomed and valued. So that's always very nice, because I don't think that's always the case with every established show.
Right. No, it's not, because I'm sure obviously on some shows, if I've worked on a show for a shorter period of time, for example, and you're still that newcomer when you first come on, everybody has their, I don't know, I almost feel like saying everybody has their zone. And sometimes it's about working out, where everybody fits and where you fit into that. Whereas with this, it actually feels like everybody is on the same wavelength.
That's
So
really
you can
good.
just join.
So I don't know if you can tell us how much you can tell us, but can you tell us about Minnie? Can you tell us about the Canfields, about how they ended up in Hope Valley, or is that a spoiler?
Is that a spoiler? I don't think it really is. I mean, they just want to try a new life. Minnie, she's very protective of her children and moving around. So without saying too much, the move itself is something that, she inevitably is a little bit cautious of. She doesn't know Hope Valley. And I think, her husband, Joseph, he is just a little more confident than she is in moving to Hope Valley. And so I think that Minnie, when she gets to know some of the other characters and garnishes some of those relationships, I think it really helps her make up her mind what she wants to do, and how she feels about Hope Valley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Viv Leacock, we've had on our show before. He's delightful. And
Yes,
so that must have been fun. He seems like a great person to work with.
Yes, he was great to work with. And the best thing was, while I was here quarantining, I spoke to him on the phone, and it was literally like we had the same ideas about the family and how we would like to portray the family. So it made things so much easier when we were on set, because we were in agreement with each other over how we should be as a couple, and how we'd like the audience to feel about us. I mean, obviously we can't determine what they will think, but we just wanted to, it was just nice to be able to speak to him and just always be on the same page. That's really nice.
Yeah, that would be really good. And the two children are his children, is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
So that must
That
be extra
was
nice.
It was really fun to work with his children at the same time, and almost try and be an adopted mother to join the family that he's already got.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was great working with them. I loved the scenes that I had with them, and it was really nice because we all gelled really well, so it made playing their mother so much easier. Yeah,
That's great. Well, the Angela, the character,
yes,
the daughter, she
yeah,
is blind on the show. Is that right?
that's right, she is. Yes,
So tell us a little bit more about that, because she's not blind in real life, correct?
that is correct, she's not.
Yeah. So how did you work? How did they do that? And how did you work with that as part of your role?
So we did share between us, and the director. We spoke about it quite a lot, and shared various videos on YouTube about knowing how to guide someone who is blind, because there were certain things that I did already know, but there were other things that I didn't know. So I think it was important for all of us to be aware, because inevitably when you're acting, you might just point at something, because instinctually that's what you would naturally do. But in a case like this, you can't point at things. You have to know how to correctly guide her in the right direction and things like that. And it's also knowing that as our daughter, she has some spatial awareness already. So it was about making sure that we weren't overly trying to be helpful, but making sure that we weren't giving her too much space, because realistically she's still a teenager, she wants to do things by herself, and as a parent we have to allow her to do that. So it was a lot of sort of parenting skills and learning how to work with someone who has a disability like that. So that was a lot to work with.
Well, I think it's gonna be an interesting element, because a lot of people compared this show to Little House on the Prairie, and
Yes.
one of the things in Little House on the Prairie was that Laura's sister Mary becomes blind.
Right.
So I think it's kind of
Yes.
interesting that they would do that and make that choice and have it be an element, because it was a part of that other show.
Yes. Yeah.
So your family on the show, the Canfields, is the first people of color really on the show, is a regular cast member at least. And
Yes.
so how does that make you feel? What do you think about that?
I think that it brings dynamic to the show. I think, and that's a good thing. I think any other dynamic that can be brought to the show as a whole and the other characters brings more challenges, and I think as a whole it can make the whole experience just a bit more interesting. So it's been really fun to deal with this subject matter, because I had to do a lot of research myself to really know what was going on during that time for African Americans, or Canadians. And I mean, I myself, I learned a lot. So
Yeah.
To put that into the show as well, and I have to give so many props to John and the writing team, because they wrote it so well. They wrote about the subject matter so well, and I think that I really think the audience will appreciate it. I think they've done such a good job with it, and I certainly had no complaints with what they had written, and that made me feel so much more connected to the show.
That's great. And I think it's got to be interesting, since you were starting at the same time as new showrunners. So there's
Yes.
just a new kind of spirit to the show. And that's one of the things I'm most curious about with the new season is the new writers, and see what they kind of bring to the table.
I think it will be. I think you guys will like it. I think
Yeah.
it will be really interesting in general. I think, yeah, I
Great.
like it.
So now, after you have worked on season 8, do you have a team? Team Lucas or Team Nathan? You probably get asked this all the time.
Do I have a team? I do, at the moment I don't. At the moment I don't. To be honest, I feel like I didn't spend enough time with them to really garnish an opinion. Because I'd love to answer the question with a well-informed opinion, and I don't have one yet, and I'd like one.
Well, maybe as you're watching all the scenes come together, then you'll have to let us know. You can message us on Twitter or whatever and let us know what team you're on.
I mean, I've seen the back and forth. Everyone is very passionate about the matter.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Well, very good. Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun, silly questions. So, all right, you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. First question: what is the best ice cream flavor?
Oh, ice cream. Oh, I'm gonna be boring. I like a good vanilla, but it's got to be a good creamy vanilla.
Yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with that. You can't go wrong at for me, vanilla with a little hot fudge sauce.
Oh, really? What? You know what? You guys have that pecan ice cream here. That stuff is so good. Oh my goodness.
Oh, like praline pecan, like butter pecan. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, that stuff is good. That stuff is good. Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite color?
Oh, I'm gonna say pink. Oh my gosh.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Good. All right. What music are you into?
Oh, do you know? I'm gonna say a little bit of literally a little bit of everything. I mean, I love jazz, but then I love country.
Oh.
Depending on the mood I'm in. Yeah. Just I'm not very good with up-to-date music, I don't
You just put it on random on the Spotify.
Exactly. Just put it on random somewhere 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s.
Very good. Okay. Back when you could leave your house, what is your favorite go-to date night food? Or I guess what would you get for DoorDash?
Oh, yeah, right. DoorDash. Oh, okay.
Or the Canadian equivalent, whatever it's called.
Yeah, no, they do. I have been door dashing. There is so I'm a celiac, so I would so they have this one place called Duke's Fried Chicken, which I absolutely love, because I cannot find, they don't do fried chicken in the UK that's gluten-free, and this one place does, and it's really good. It's just, that comfort food.
Yeah. I had a companion on my mission who had celiac so bad. If she had any trace of any wheat, it was really bad. So I don't envy you that at all.
Yeah, no, I know some people are just really, really bad. I originally tried, there's a pill you can take to help with your body in digesting gluten. And for some people that works if it's mild, a mild intolerance. But when I realized that didn't work for me, then I had to go and I was hoping I could still just have a little bit of gluten. No, not a chance.
No, not a chance. Okay. All right. Which is your favorite, dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Okay, good.
Dogs.
All right.
Yeah.
Beaches or mountains?
Beaches.
Yeah, that's me all the way.
Yeah.
Would you rather be in a fancy dress or in sweats?
Sweats.
Okay. What is your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Christmas?
Yeah. That's very good. That's very on brand to say Christmas. Too bad you didn't get to do a Christmas Twinkles the Heart Christmas movie, because those are always fun.
Yeah. Hopefully
Next
if
year.
we continue, we can fit one in next time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Last question. What is your favorite Hallmark or romantic movie?
The Way We Were. I was talking about it the other day. I was like, oh, I love The Way We Were.
You like a little bit of a tearjerker, will make you cry a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good. All right, very good. You passed the test.
Oh, good. Woo, okay.
And we're very excited to see the Canfields in Hope Valley. It's going to be great. And thank you so much for coming and talking with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's it's fun.
Yeah. So do you have social media that you want to share or anything like that?
Yeah. So Instagram, I am Natasha Burnett. So you can find me there. And let me see, my Twitter is exactly the same. So nice and easy to find.
Well, we'll have that all in the description so people can follow you. And we'll look forward to seeing you hopefully on the live tweets or whatever. Where are you in Canada still now?
Yes. I am staying here. I'm writing it out here. So. Okay.
Well, good luck with everything. And thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Well, thank you.